what I want my podcast to be about. It's a little mix of open your reality, typical skeptic, little Chappelle show, little living color, a little Tim Cast, a little Joe Rogan, those kind of things. Put them all in one. Let's see what we got.
Check one, check two.
So welcome to the We Are One podcast. Today we have Chad from Open Your Reality, wearing his Dodger blue. We have Rob from Typical Skeptic podcast, wearing his Run DMC Adidas gear from the 1980s. Today we have two special guys, and I think it's about time we had someone interview them. So I have some questions for these two jokers, and we're going to see how they answer them. They have not been previewed for them. So actually, I think Chad wrote some of his questions, but that's beside the point. I might switch those up. I might just throw them in the trash. Anyway, we're here to have fun. We're here to talk about some spiritual stuff, and let's get right down into it. Rob, the first question is for you. Keep in mind, guys, we only have about a minute and a half per question, and there is a buzzer. If you do not adhere to the buzzer, you're going to get... Oh, snap. There it goes. All right. Let's check it out. This is the first question. Rob, you've had your podcast for how many years now? That's not a question.
It's been close to 3 years. I started it when I started making videos on the Anunnaki. I was making videos on what I was learning about that, and then I started interviewing people when the pandemic went into play. That's really when I started interviewing people. I would say so, maybe 2.5, 3 years.
Okay, cool. And Chad, how about you? We'll make that a question.
I think I posted my first video January or February of 2019, but I didn't do anything with the channel until April of 2019. Just posted 2 videos. One of them did really well. So I saw that, looked back and said, you know what?
Wrap it up.
That's what I'm going to do. You got to wrap it up that early, Ken?
You got to wrap it up, man.
10 seconds?
Early and often. I think that was about 30 seconds. That wasn't really a question, though.
Was that 30 seconds?
You got to wrap that one up early.
I want to see the instant replay on that one.
I mean, we say 30 seconds, and the women might be like, that took a long time. No, okay. So first actual question, Rob, who's been your favorite guest over the past 2.5 years? Have you had any guests that really blew your mind? Any aha moments that you were interviewing them and you were like, wow, that's something I did not expect to hear from?
Yeah, I was really excited to talk to Matt LaCroix. I love talking to him. When he was one of the first people I started following when I was always an Art Bell fan, right? So I was an Art Bell fan when I was a kid, but then I kind of had a reawakening in 2017 and I started following Matt LaCroix. And then I would say the best guest, though, to get to your question, is Matt LaCroix, Paul Wallace, and Jason from Archaics. That 3 had the biggest influence on me as far as as far as the stuff I like to talk about. I mean, I love all the ET stuff too, but I really love the Anunnaki stuff. That stuff really interests me. I
agree, man. I agree. Was there anything they said that was really, really interesting or blew your mind when you heard it? I mean, it's just I love the opposing ideas, I love trying to figure out this puzzle that where we seem to find ourselves in. It's we do know that this race of advanced beings probably most likely visited us in the past. And I think Jason from Archaics thinks they're more of an underground civilization, whereas Matt LaCroix is kind of like the Billy Carson school of thought where it's more like an extraterrestrial thing. And I think Paul Wallace follows along that line too. I can't think of anything they said that was super. Well, I know Matt LaCroix talked about that there's that he kind of almost verified Nibiru, but it's not Nibiru. He verified that it was a brown dwarf. And he said it was causing gravitational pull on our planet. He said it was causing our yeah, I worded that right. That was one of the things that kind of stuck out. How long ago did you? I want to reference some of these podcasts too. How long ago did you interview him, just so people can find it?
I would say Matt LaCroix was anywhere from 3 to 6 months ago. Paul Wallace was maybe 6 months to a year ago, and I've interviewed Paul twice, and I've interviewed Jason from Archaics twice. And Jason, they're all on my main channel. I have to,
Don't get X. Don't get X. It's coming.
What about Billy Carson? You ever interviewed Billy Carson?
I've never had Billy Carson on, but Chad has.
I've had him on 4 times, but how come have you ever asked him to come on your show?
I don't think I was worried. Like I felt like I didn't have enough subscribers yet. So maybe I should reach out to him. You know what I mean? It might be a good idea. But like I think I did try to reach out to him and he never responded. So, like maybe it's not time yet. But I feel like I will get there eventually.
I mean, your symbol is like, isn't that Billy Carson with the pineal gland in the back? Just kidding, Billy. Just kidding, Billy.
No, it's I think this is like the reason why I have this is because the pine cone represents the passing of knowledge. The Anunnaki with the holding of the pine cone, and I'm like you guys. I want to like share the knowledge that I'm learning, whatever that is. I listened to you guys' first podcast, and I think that I have a lot in common with you guys. That's why I started my podcast. Was I just kind of wanted to share knowledge that was being everything that I was learning. I'm like you, Ken. I spent a lot of time watching a lot of YouTube content, and not just that. I'm like you. I've read a lot of books too, and it's just yeah.
You're like if me and Chad had a baby that watched YouTube and read books.
Yeah,
something like that. Chad, how about you?
Yeah.
Any guests? I know you have a lot of guests. I don't want to say favorite. Favorite could be the wrong word. Any memorable guests that gave you an aha moment that you were interviewing them and you just couldn't? You were like, wow.
My first guest was Anthony Peake, and I would say, when I interviewed him, I didn't necessarily think it was a mind-blowing interview, but when I went back and I watched it again for the second, third time, he's really one of the best guests I ever had in terms of the knowledge that he brings, how he says it, how passionate he is, what he knows. And I've tried to get him back on the show, but I had him twice in 2020 and 2021, and that was it.
Did he say anything in particular that you had to go back and think about?
The
Groundhog Day theory or something.
Yeah, the groundhog, and I made a video about it, like the groundhog, about how he believes that we live the same life over and over. And
wasn't that in the 13th floor?
That movie?
Yeah, did you see that?
I don't think I saw the whole movie. But
can I say something? I have to kind of agree. Sorry, you can't see I raised my hand, but I've got to say this. I kind of believe Anthony Peake. I feel like we live in some kind of reality where, because I get deja vu moments where I feel like I've lived this exact life before. And I wonder at times if I've lived this exact life and I've come back to try to correct mistakes that I obviously keep making. Or there's parallel realities and there's versions of our consciousness and other realities, depending on whatever you believe about consciousness. But I really believe that. That's it makes sense. But not a lot of people seem to share that sentiment with me.
Yeah, I like the daemon. I like the idea of having some kind of inner consciousness. I think he calls that the daemon. So I'm down for that. I don't know about the Groundhog's Day thing in general, but I definitely deja vu has been really, really big for me in the last few years. Had that a lot. What about you, Chad?
I don't really get deja vu that much anymore. Anthony Peake says you get it early in life and you get it right towards the end of your life. So maybe it's a good thing I'm not having it right now, but two good movies. If people,
Rob, we're not getting on the plane together. It's not happening.
Groundhog's Day and Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise was like a sci-fi version of Groundhog's Day. Have you seen that movie, Rob?
No, I've never saw it. I've never heard of it.
You got to watch it, man. I cannot believe you haven't seen that movie. Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise, 2014 with Emily Blunt. It's the sci-fi version of Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, I just saw it. Chad mentioned it about a month and a half ago. I saw it for the first time.
What'd you think?
Starting to catch on. It was good. It was very interesting. The way that they phrased the Groundhog's Day kind of thing. And especially, Rob, if you believe that there's some truth to that, you definitely should watch it. It was very entertaining regardless.
Yeah.
Good movie, good plot, and everything else.
Yeah, big fan of Tom Cruise, but I don't know. I mean, just to go back to your question, Ken, it's hard to pick favorites. I have Chris Sinatra. I just posted a video today with him. He's a favorite guest of mine just because
and you've had me on a few times, I think. So I got to be in there. Otherwise, you're going to get. If you don't say that, you get.
I've had Rob on too.
Sorry, you got X'd. Sorry, bud.
I've had Rob on too. It's hard to pick favorites, man.
Yep. Gotcha. All right, we'll move on to the next question. This is going to be a little vague. So, first Mandela Effect, you found out. What was the context about it, Rob? And what was the situation?
This is amazing. The first time I heard the Mandela Effect mentioned was on the Art Bell Shadow People episode. Back, when I started listening to Art Bell again, it was back in 2017, and he was interviewing this woman on the Shadow People, and she talked about that about the Mandela Effect, and the Mandela Effect for me was the whole Mandela thing, because I thought that he died as well. I was almost sure of it, like I was almost positive that he died. And then I found out that he didn't, and I was like flabbergasted. And then I found out about all these other weird Mandela effects, like the Bernstein Bears, Star Wars. I guess those are the ones that everybody knows. I'm trying to think of a good one. I mean, it's off the top of my head. Like
Monopoly Man.
Chad might be better at that because he knows
Chad,
the
who
simulation
you think?
stuff really well.
Would you say, Chad?
I said the Monopoly Man, Monopoly Monocle.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
The Pikachu thing, the tail.
The Star Wars C-3PO leg is ridiculous.
The C3, yeah.
And that's just ridiculous. I mean, he has a silver leg. Come on.
Yeah.
And Curious George, I mean, have no tail. That's another ridiculous.
Here's my question, though. I got a question. Like, why do you guys think this is happening? It's one thing that we can like call it the Mandela Effect, but like I like to try to think of like, why is it even happening? Like, do you think it's like converging timelines, or do you think someone's messing with our timelines, or like what?
I mean, I have an interesting perspective on it because I just interviewed Chris yesterday on the video I posted today, and I asked Chris, why are these Mandela effects happening? And he said, because it's like this, right? You have maybe, Jason Bashir's believes there's a benefactor and AIX, artificial intelligence, right? So the benefactor is the good, right? The positive, the light, and the AIX is the negative entity. It's the darkness. It's the evil. Okay, so the evil is always here. Like we see it all around us. The light is trying to help us, but it can't do it directly because then it breaks our free will. So what it does is it gives us very subtle signs. This is according to Chris Sinatra. So these Mandela effects, they're not just random. That's what I like about Chris. He's the only one that I know that really explains the logic behind the Mandela effects.
There was another YouTuber did the same thing, though. I think he went through all of them, or most of them. I don't have it. I'll link it later.
But does he explain the symbolism behind it?
He's saying that there's a reason for them. Yes, I forgot what the name of the YouTuber was, but he didn't show his face. He just showed his opinions.
Yeah, but if this is a simulation, these codes can be imparted right into the framework.
Rob, I think honestly, to me, it points to the fact that this is a simulation. I mean, we can talk about Mandela effects all day long. There are a few things that happened to me in my life in the past few years that, I mean, one literally just happened like 3 days ago. I was watching the Ola interview I did with her on my screen, and I was referencing a part in that interview where I was talking, and I was just sitting on my couch over here. I haven't posted it yet, the actual video, but I have video of it. I'm referencing and I'm talking about how this reality is not real, and that there are signs everywhere and things and I was saying that, and all of a sudden my iPhone starts talking to me. Now I don't even have an iPhone that I use. It's sitting there, it's for work, but it started talking to me. It was asleep because it's always off. It's locked. It has the facial recognition. It has the thumb, it has all that shit. It's plugged in and it was off, and it started talking to me at that particular moment. It started talking to me, and I looked at it. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then I paused and I was like, okay, this happens to me every once in a while. No problem. Just going to watch it and observe it. So I back it up to that part and I'm like, what did I say? Because I wasn't paying attention exactly what I was saying. What did I say to make this thing trigger this? And I was talking about the reality not being real. And all of a sudden it did it again. But it said something completely different. And I picked up the phone and I'm like, I don't get this. Like, there's nothing that I was Googling Apple. I have Apple users that I made a few phone calls to. And I said, how can you make your iPhone wake up? So then I take videos of me going, hey, Siri, wake up. Siri, I have a question. Siri, this, nothing. 10 minutes later, I played the exact same segment in there. Nothing happened. So, I mean, there are physical Mandela effects for me that are really showing me that this is a joke. that this is not the way.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yep.
I wanted to see what you guys thought of your interview with Ola, because I'll just tell you, she read my chart and everything that she read about me came true. Like I told her like 6 months ago, I was like, I met the girl in my dreams. There's so much synchronicity. It's my twin flame, my soulmate. She read my chart and she's like, Rob, this girl isn't right for you. She's like, it's not going to work out. It has to be something different. She said, you're on some kind of solo mission in this life. And it ended up being right. Like my relationship fell apart just like 2 months ago, or a month ago, you know? So like, Ola's pretty amazing.
But do you think that maybe what she said got into your mind and maybe subconsciously, because things were going great when she gave that to you and then they went downhill? Do you think that could have affected
I think
you?
it was something to do with our energy, like between me and my ex. I think our energies were too strong. Like, if that makes any sense, like the energy was so strong that like there had to be some kind of indifference. Or it's like how like I'm kind of in like when we talk about simulation theory, I'm kind of in like the Howdy Mikowski camp where I think there's something a little bit more malevolent going on. Because I could just tell you this, for example, like if I tell you like the guests I'm going to have on my show tomorrow and I announce it, something will go wrong. It's like, it seems like AIX, and that's just an example, right? Like it seems like whatever AIX is or whatever this component is to this matrix, like if I say something out loud, there's a good chance that will, and that might just be my way of thinking, but it seems like that might like trigger something to go wrong for me. Like if I and it's not just that, it's other things in my life too. Like I just feel like there's a negative component to this reality that we live in, and I don't want to be negative. I'd rather be more positive, but it's just what I've noticed. I don't know how you guys.
I think that's part of the test, Rob. I mean, I really do. I you know, some of these people are gonna, and Ola is very adamant in her knowledge of what she believes or what she thinks or what she says she doesn't believe it. She says it's just what I rate and what it is. I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of your theory, and I respect that. And she's very knowledgeable, but I think that it is what what you make it to be. I don't believe we're all predestined for anything. I don't know. This seems like a dream to me, to be honest. But as far as simulation goes, I believe there's a benefactor. I also believe that this is a simulation that's been hijacked from the inside, and it's been tampered with from the outside too. So I don't really have a fundamental theory. I believe there's a benefactor, number one. I believe that there's also malevolent, some kind of AI, but it's being manipulated by whoever's inside of this thing that knows the mystery school wisdom or the wisdom of our ancients, or just how long this has been around. I'm not even convinced that history is real. I think history is like the observer effect, honestly. And I've been saying this for a few months now, that it seems like when you look for something, you'll find it in history. But before that, it's not there. So you go digging up stuff and it'll be presented to you. And the same thing with your memories. So I have some theories that I'm working with, but I really, really, really strongly advise people who are watching this or you, if you're willing to listen or take some advice, is that this is what you make it. You can certainly spin it in any rabbit hole you want, that, you know, it's a slave reality, or it's some kind of I know you're not saying negative things, and Howdy doesn't talk negative either, but I really believe that if you believe what you want to see, you'll see it. That means you have to buy in. I say it all the time: seek truth, surrender, and let go. The most amazing shit's happened to me since I sat in my car driving from Tampa to Jacksonville to go see some friends, and I just surrendered, and I started tearing, and I mean, Gamma was flooding me. I mean, I felt the near-death experience, what it felt like. I'm telling you, I felt it, and I was trying to hold that moment forever, and it does not stay forever. But what I found in that experience is when you surrender to whatever that is, whether that's you, whether that's a God, whether that is a supreme being, whatever that is, the most amazing shit will happen to you. And when you believe it, you will see it. And that's part of the test for me, for all of us.
I like that. I really dig that. That's a really good thought. I think that's a really good theory or way to live. It's a really great way to live. I really truly believe that.
It hasn't done me wrong. I can tell you some of the things that have happened to me that are absolutely ridiculously amazing. Some of them I don't want to speak on camera to, because I don't want the archons or whoever is watching this thing to jump back at me and grab me some way. And that's kind of a little gray area there. But we can talk about it in private, but there's some things that make no sense, literally. Physical stuff moving and money coming my way that I could never have imagined. I just surrendered to it. I let it go, and it just came to me. I ran from it, and it came back to me. So, I mean,
That's
I hope
awesome.
people find this message very, very positive, because while I do want to explore and I want to seek. Sorry to cut you off, Rob. I want people to understand that this isn't a soul trap channel. This is an exploratory channel. I want to find the truth. I made this channel so we could talk to people like you and to Chad and the guests that I want to talk to and ask them questions. I don't want to have an interview on somebody asked me, why don't I just show up and let people who are on my show talk? And I said, this isn't an interview. It's a discussion. People have wisdom, but nobody has all the wisdom. Nobody knows everything. We're all a bunch of duality running around here trying to find out, what's going on. And we all have our own perspective. The perspective that I want to share and I want people to resonate with is just what I just said. When you surrender to your higher self or whatever that is, whatever that benefactor is, you surrender to that thing, some of the most amazing shit's going to happen. And I'm telling you, it's going to happen if you believe it.
I think I just need to believe more. I think I've had both the bad and the good. I've had a lot of unexpected good things happen to me, and I've had a lot of unexpected bad things happen to me.
Those things that Ola calls Saturn or the Matrix, they're gonna try to grab you with different things. And until you break free of that and breaking pattern, Jason talks about breaking pattern all the time. Until you start breaking pattern and getting free from whatever that is trying to grab onto you, you're not going to believe it. But you have to just have faith, and you have to surrender to that, whatever that is that's going to help you. And you don't have to do too much more. You don't have to connect the dots. There's no dots need to be connected there. You don't have to do all action, and you don't have to sit on your couch either. But you have to move in a direction, like the observer effect. You have to move in a direction to render a new reality for yourself. And when you believe that one's coming, man, I'm telling you, you start seeing all kinds of shit.
I think that's a great way to think. What do you feel about Chad?
I mean, I get it. There was somebody that just wrote to me on my Patreon who said that they can't wait to get out of here, can't wait to leave this realm. And I wrote back to them and said, even if this is a soul trap, even if you do believe that, if you think positively, you'll actually fare better. Because scientifically, when you do think negative, it's been shown to impact your health. And on a law of attraction level, it impacts, your direct sphere of influence, who you're around. And yeah, these bad things can come. People who think negative thoughts probably more prone to be sick, get into car accidents, even die. So I do think even if this is a soul trap, you got to think positive. But I do think that, like Ken said, this is not made to be like a happy place. We have tons of issues going on all the time between our finances, our health, relationships. I mean, it never stops.
Yeah, I think to add to that, Chad, I think a lot of people believe that thinking positively is the way to do it, but it's really not, in my opinion. And again, I don't have my police hat on or anything, but I don't know anything. I can just tell you what I've experienced, and it's not the thoughts to me. What I've seen people talk about that I resonate with and that have said the same thing. It's not just the positive thoughts. It's about the emotion. There's something with your heart, the emotion that you feel, the empathy, the energy, the gratitude. Those things, those emotions connect energetically with something. I don't know what the hell it is, but if you can connect with that and then have the intention to surrender and have those positive things happen. It's not just the positive thoughts, because people can think positive thoughts all day long and negative stuff can just happen, right? I mean, you can be a victim. When you stop being a victim and you change that, you start being a creator of your own reality, I think things really, really change for you.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that.
That
right?
makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was
sorry, go ahead.
I was only going to say you're right. Greg Braden was talking about this 15 years ago, that he saw that true change happens at the being level. That's what Tom Campbell says.
It's being. That's right. It's being level.
It's at the being level. So just thinking positive thoughts is a start, but the thing that really alters the reality is your feelings, is your emotions. Mm-hmm. That's the thing at the being level. Yeah, I agree with that.
And for me, that's the surrendering part. That's the part that I'm going to stop connecting the dots. I'm an A personality, and I'm a very analytical mind. And Ola, did my chart wonderfully also. She was right on. But for me, the surrendering part is what made it happen for me. I've always been very hardworking, and I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I have a way above average intelligence. Those kind of things, they all connect, right? So you're going to do well. But for me, I was always a victim. When I stopped being a victim and I just surrendered to whatever A plus C, A minus C equals B, whatever the equation is, I've started to forget what B is. B doesn't really matter to me. C matters. The equals, after the equal sign, matters. And I lost both of my parents. That was really hard, the first one. The second one was one of the most graceful and pleasant experiences of my life, as close as it was with my dad. And I have to say this because I think people don't understand this. The present is all you have. The feeling that is all you have. The emotion is all you have right now, right? If you think about the past, that's a memory for you. The future is a thought. All you have is the present. And what I mean by that is, and I had a dream about 3 nights ago, same thing with this, right? I had a dream that I was, we'll sum this up very well, really quickly. I'm going to buzzer myself here in a second. I was talking to my mother, who's deceased, and I was having a really hard time trying to explain something to her. And I woke up pissed off. And I woke up pissed off for the reason, not that she wasn't here anymore, but I thought when I was back there, I was so pissed off. So what I'm saying is, in the present, we have the opportunity to make these emotions our own and surrender to whatever the gratitude is, and those things that we reframe. And we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We don't know if it's going to get worse tomorrow. All we can do is prepare like it's going to get worse, but appreciate that it is the moment right now. I probably said that way wrong. I apologize, but we can go back in the past and say, well, I thought that was pretty bad, but those are pretty damn good times.
Yeah, and I'll just add to what you guys are saying. It made me think of an interview I did. I did interview Dr. Joel Gallenberger from the Robert Monroe Institute. He does he teaches courses on manifestation. And then him and the remote viewer, Buddy Bolton, he was on my show, but he was also on Linda Moulton Howe's show. They did an experiment where they went to a casino. They don't gamble, right? But they're like consciousness researchers. So they wanted to see how this would work out. And what he explained to me is, he said that they went with the manifesting from your heart. This is from what I remember. It's hard for me to pull all the details. They said when you manifest from your heart and you feel these feelings of love, they were able to go into a casino with like a couple $100 and leave with like thousands of dollars. And both Buddy backed it up and said this, and Dr. Joel said this too. Basically, they said sat down at a slot machine with this like feeling of love, and I guess just like good feelings and manifesting from the heart, whatever that means, however you do that. And they were able to, get really lucky, I guess. Like, I don't know, whatever you guys think about that. But I mean, I would have to go back to listen to the interview to.
Does that work with women too?
Sorry.
I'm just wondering.
I wish, right?
There's some NPCs out there. You could probably reprogram them.
That's hilarious. No, but I think you're right. I think if we think positive, but my problem has been lately, it's been hard for me to think positive because, and I'm not bringing up my issues. I don't want to do that. But like, I'll just say like real quick, like I thought this person I was going to be with for the rest of my life. I think I talked about that on your show, Chad. Like the last time I was on your show, or the time I was on your show, I talked about how I was with like my ex, and I thought it was like the greatest thing in the world. Like, well, now like that's gone. So it's been hard for me to think positive. Like I wake up and I start to wonder like, well, why this happened. And then I'll think of memories of me and her, and like, and I'm trying, and then I noticed after doing that like, like views on my channel started going down. I wasn't pulling in as much, like I wasn't selling any merch. I wasn't, none of my affiliates, like things like monetarily, things weren't happening for me because I was thinking negatively. But it was what I'm trying to say. It's hard to like.
Heard that song "Unanswered Prayers" by Garth Brooks?
No.
You might want to listen to that song.
I was going to say also, Rob, I wouldn't feel that bad because I've had merch on my website on my YouTube channel probably about 5 or 6 months. I've sold 0. And there have been moments where I've been very positive. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying in general, it just seems like my money, and from all angles of with ways I make money was like going down, and I think that was because of the negative thinking. But like what I'm asking you guys is, what do you think about how we overcome those negative thoughts? Like, what would you do?
Okay. I try to put them out of my mind completely. Like as far as that, I don't try to get attached to any situation. Okay, so if this is a simulation, what are you getting attached to? If this is all a dream, what are you attached to? If there's a better future for you tomorrow, say you meet the woman of your dreams in 2 weeks, and you never would have met her if you were dating your girlfriend, would you say, well, thank God I broke up with that one. I thought she was the one, but she wasn't the one for me. What if this new girlfriend gave you 2 beautiful kids, a picket fence, had a great job, very supportive, was the love of your life? How would you feel at that moment, looking back at this now?
Yeah, that
makes sense. Yeah,
you have to reframe it that everything is either a lesson, right, or it's a blessing, and that's trademarked. I just trademarked that. Lesson
I think it was definitely a lesson.
You either learn from it, or it's a blessing that it happened. It can be both.
Yeah, like I was saying, I was talking to this girl from South Africa. It was all through WhatsApp, and we FaceTimed, and then she ghosted me. And then I met Ruby, the girl I'm with now, who treats me wonderfully. So, how are you going to look at that? Like, I could have been sad about the girl who ghosted me, but I was like, there's somebody else. There's another person out there for me. And I found that person. But just to answer your question, Rob, I would just focus on what you're passionate about, what your goals are, what you want to accomplish in the next 6 months to a year, and focus on the process, not the results. So
focus on the feeling too. Yeah. The feeling that it gives you doing it, because that's kind of what it's all about.
That's kind of what I've been doing. My main goal is my show. Like I took a job just to have hours so I could still do my show every day. You know what I mean? Like that's how much I care about my show. Like I'm doing things to.
Let me ask you a question. How would you feel tomorrow if YouTube canceled your show and threw all your stuff in the trash?
I'd be like, well, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Rockman, I'm on Rumble. I'm going to be, I'm on 5 other, 6, 7, 8 other platforms. So
right, bad example. What I'm trying to say is, what if tomorrow your joy comes from the fact that you can do your channel? Forget everything else that happens to you. Your joy should come from doing the channel and loving it the way it is. The fact that somebody cuts me off in traffic is irrelevant to me. I mean, I'm human. Everybody gets upset, whatever. But what I'm saying is focus on things that make you happy, not on things that make you upset.
Yeah, that's true. That makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
But also say focus on what you can control, not what's out of your control.
And that's true too. Yep, 100%. This is the longest question too in the history of questions.
Well, but you're supposed to go through these questions like what happened to the minute buzzers and everything?
Okay, let me rewind. I'm gonna rewind it. Give me 1 second, and I'll rewind it, and I'll say blah blah blah. I was talking, and oops. Okay, we're right back to where we were. All right, Chad, the Mandela Effect. How did you find out about it? I think I know, but
no, I was taking something called turmeric, not turmeric, and I used to take it for inflammation when I was a vegan, for my arthritis, and I know it was spelled TUMERIC. Because I even made a video about it. And in the video, I spelled it the right way, TUMERIC. And I heard about the Mandela Effect. I don't know exactly who it was. I don't remember the content creator, but they said that turmeric has changed. It has an extra R. And I was like, that is BS. Because I'm a big stickler on words because I was an English teacher and I look at words very carefully. So I went to my refrigerator, looked at the bottle. It said turmeric, had the extra R. That blew my mind because to me, that's like the bottle changing, right? Because that bottle, every day I would go to it, it says TUM. Now
that's a physical Mandela Effect.
Yeah, that was a physical Mandela Effect change. And when I saw that, right away I was a believer because it wasn't something like somebody said, this logo looks a little bit different, and maybe I didn't remember it that well. And then there was other Mandela Effects that came after that, like Luke, the Star Wars one, Luke, I'm your father, no, I'm your father, all that stuff. So, I was a believer, and I never thought it was false memory. I never thought it was false memory. I still don't believe to today why people say that. Wait
a minute. I got a question. Turmeric. It's spelled TUMERIC, right? Where's the other R?
No, it's TURMERIC. It's turmeric. Turmeric.
It's turmeric now.
Oh my god. This definitely is a Mandela effect. Like it's
Yeah,
because I remember
it
it the way you remember it, Chad.
It is. You know what? The funniest thing is, Chad, we have a lot of things in common, man. And I think we both think very similarly. But my first Mandela effect was turmeric also.
Really?
Yes, because I remember specifically my son was graduating high school. He's almost 22. So 3 years ago, I was watching a health channel as I was awakening. And the guy's name is Thomas DeLauer. And he's a very big YouTuber. Great YouTuber, interesting dude. And so he was recommending turmeric and saying turmeric back in 2019-ish. And so I bought turmeric. I was telling my my wife's line sister, sorority sister, this is what I take for inflammation and it works great and X, Y, and Z. I'm promoting the product to her in my house, right? She's in my house. So after it's probably about 2 years later, about a year later, I'm asking my buddy who's a firefighter and very big into fitness. I said, hey man, is this turmeric crap a Mandela effect? And he's not into this stuff too much. He says, no, it's always been turmeric. So I go, no, it hasn't. I used to watch this guy. I go on YouTube and I swear to God, the guy was like, he sounded so awkward saying turmeric. And I was like, this is freaking crazy, man, because the same one that got you got me. I knew it wasn't turmeric. It was turmeric because I had said it 100 times. And so the same one that got you got me. But
Yeah,
my
no,
story
I was
one.
like every day I went to that bottle. I looked at that bottle. I knew it. I said turmeric a lot of times to people. Nah, it's a Mandela effect for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Next question, number 3. This is kind of plays into what we talked about, Rob. Simulation theory or your theory of reality. What have you found from your guests? What are your foundations that you know to be true or you believe to be true? And what made you so convinced in those theories, if you can remember them specifically?
I mean, as far as like simulation theory goes,
Yeah, what do you believe in
as
simulation
far as
theory?
like whatever, I just believe our reality. I believe we live in like a biological simulation. Like because I believe that we're in a simulated reality, but everything seems so real, right? And I guess you could go back to Michael Talbot's The Holographic Universe, and like he explains why it seems real. Like there's things in your eyes that like tell you what's real and what's not real. But like I believe we're some kind of like biological computer. You know, like the brain is so much like a computer. It's very strange. You know, I probably can't explain it. I mean, like I'm trying to. It's so hard to, you know, like I don't know. Like I'm not sure. I don't know what this is. You know, I know that it's very mysterious and strange, and you know, it's I just believe maybe we're in some kind of biological simulation. You know,
As we talk about it right now, how can you not love that though? I mean, the wonder of whatever the hell we're talking about to me is just fascinating. I mean, it's awesome. It's like,
yeah, that's why I do this.
What would I be doing if I wasn't talking about this? Like, would I be watching Netflix? I mean, you know, what would I be doing?
And once you do this, you can't go back to living a normal life.
No, you can't.
I can't. I know that.
No. I can't wait till the day I pass away and I go into the simulation above or whatever the hell happens to me. And they go, hey, you awake? You were dreaming all that shit. You had one hell of imagination. We were able to watch all of that.
That's what do you guys think your dreams are? Do you think your dreams are other realities? I do. I think the dream world is definitely another reality.
I think it's like memories coming in, but I don't want to skip Chad here. I'm supposed to X myself.
Oh, sorry.
That. Hold on. Oops, my bad. We're off topic. Chad, your simulation theory or theory of reality, what are the foundations that make you so convinced?
I mean, just Tom Campbell's MBT, which I've talked about on my channel quite a lot.
Was there something in particular he said that resonated with you that you were like, okay, I got it? Or you read his books, correct?
I read his book, yeah, and I watched probably hundreds of his videos. But like Rob said, you know, takes you back to the holographic universe with Michael Talbot, where Michael Talbot basically put it into the consciousness of I guess of the world that, hey, you know, we could be living in a hologram. And he referenced what were the two guys he referenced? There was two guys. It was, I can't think of their names offhand, but I think one of them was David Bohm. And the other one, I'm trying to think of the other one, maybe Roger Penrose. But these two guys, they had come up with this years ago, like back in this 50s, I think, or 60s.
Hmm.
And Tom Campbell just took it to that next step. And I don't know if there's one thing I could pinpoint about Tom Campbell, but he just said it, virtual reality best explains everything. Like when you understand MBT, you understand that the paranormal is really not paranormal. It's normal. You just don't understand it.
Yep.
One of the guests that I'd really like to have on, I just figured I'd say this, is Dr. Richard Allen Miller. I have his book behind, well, you can't see it, but he has that book called A Holographic Mind in a Non-Local Universe. It's really complicated, but it's good. He came out with his paper back in the 70s too, about like the holographic concept of reality. It's fascinating to me. I don't understand it all, but it's fascinating to me.
Oh, that's a good one there. I wrote his name down. I'll check him out.
Have you read that book?
I think
Rob?
you should definitely have one. Which one?
Have you read the book? You want to just referenced Holographic?
Yeah, Dr. Richard Allen Miller, and I've had him on my show a couple times. Like he's been on other shows as well too. He's a great guest to have. I think you guys should definitely have him. Like he's all over the place with topics, but I mean, in his book, he talks about everything from the holographic nature of reality to easy water, which is like Jerry Pollock water, to like martial arts and chi, prana, energy, consciousness. Timothy Leary's eight worlds of consciousness. He gets into a lot of stuff in that book. It's awesome.
Did you ever have Anthony Peak on your show, Rob? I don't think you did, right?
No, I haven't. I'd love to.
There you go.
I got to email him.
Why don't you, Rob, invite him on your show, and then Chad's going to jump in. He's going to jump on the live.
Yeah, definitely. We should do that. I'll surprise him. I say,
yeah,
hey, Tony,
I'm not going to watch this. Anthony, if you're watching this, we're just kidding. No, we're not. I'm jumping in there. I have Damon questions. So I don't know if you saw the episode that me and MJ did, Rob, about the guest live draft. I'm going to ask that question of you guys too in a second. But he was one of my guests that I was like, I want to ask him about what he infers from the Damon about that, about the intuition, and is that what he means?
Hey, I've got a good prank if you ever want to pull it on somebody.
April Fools? You mean that one?
Two of my good friends are born April Fools. I can never forget that birthday.
Wow.
But I was talking about this with Chris yesterday in our interview. So he has a poster of Alderaan in his office, like right outside his office in his business. And it says Alderaan. By the way, that's another new Mandela Effect. It changed.
What's Alderaan?
That's the planet where Princess Leia comes from.
Okay.
And it now has 2 A's in it. It never had 2 A's.
All these damn A's that keep popping up with HIPAA and there's a few of those damn A ones. So I used to do HR and it was HIPPA was HIPAA. And now there's like another A on there. And it's like, where the hell did A come from? It's crazy. This medical crap.
Yeah. So he was walking by the poster and he noticed it had an additional A. And I said, are you sure like someone didn't take that poster down, create another poster and put it there just to, nope. Just as a joke?
They can mess him up, boy. They know how serious he is about that. All right, so we got 2 quick questions left, and we're going to jump off here and get on live if Chad still wants to do that.
Yeah, we could do live.
Okay, so really quick, we're going to try to get into this. This is probably a good question, so don't rush through it if you don't want to. UFOs. I know you love this one, Rob. Man-made, alien, or are they part of a breakaway civilization, or all of the above? What do you believe is most likely?
All of the above. Guaranteed all of the above. Guaranteed all of the above. I can't prove it. I don't think I can prove this, but I mean, there's enough evidence to show. I think there's definitely enough evidence to show.
Can you show there's a breakaway civilization? I mean, whether it's inner Earth, whether it's ant people, whether it's Telos. I mean, Ola talked about it a little bit too. I mean, is there real evidence that there are breakaway civilizations? And I don't mean just like past Antarctica or on the North Pole in the Earth. I mean, is there anything out there that points to breakaway civilizations? That is the most ridiculously interesting topic to me because it explains everything else, including potentially the archons that govern our electric plasma universe. As Tess says,
it's a tough question. I would agree with you. I think that all three are going on. I think there's an inner Earth civilization. I think there's UFOs that are definitely man-made. I think the UFO crashes were definitely real. I think there was Roswell, Aztec, other ones that we don't know about. I think Tesla might have had something where he had they talk about Tesla's death ray. They might have possibly used that to shoot stuff on. Again, I don't have any proof for any of this. I just like talking about it. I go back to alien abductions, you know, like the work of David Jacobs, Bud Hopkins, John Mack, Carla Turner. These things can't be forgotten. And I feel like a lot of times that there's a little bit of disinformation going on in the UFO community. And I think what happens is it smears over all the legitimate work that people have done.
That's
so
exactly
like when you're trying to figure out.
That's what it's supposed to do. No, I'm not trying to, I'm just making a comment. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to create so much ridiculous chatter that you can't tell what the hell is real.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know if aliens, physical aliens, are real. And I'll say this: I don't know anything, right? So none of us really know. I guess you could know, but you may not. I mean, they could be all mind controlled. I mean, it could be that this technology is coming from outside the simulation or something, or somebody has decided, like Westworld, somebody wants to log in and be rich and famous and live a great life and be a Rockefeller. Maybe they're one of the founders, and this technology comes with them, and then they create this ruse of aliens or extraterrestrials and mind control people on frequency, because that's what we're all on, and that's how they keep us stupid, because they're like, those are aliens, and we're like, ain't no aliens here. I don't think there's 3-foot green men running around. I just don't.
I mean, people have been abducted. I mean, there's MyLabs too.
Right, but how about the possibility that they mind control them or memory wipe them, and they plant a story in their head? I mean, do we have any record before Barney and Bobby, whatever the hell Hill? But before,
it goes way back to like Celtic times. I mean, the abductions have been going on for thousands of years. Benny and Barney Hill.
I'd love to hear that. I would love to hear those stories. Maybe when we come on your podcast or whatever, you can tell us about some of the texts that involve the earliest stories of actual physical abduction. Those would be fascinating to me. I've never heard of any of them.
Did you ever hear of the Mami Wata tradition?
No, I've heard of the Mami Wata, but not off the top of my head. No.
Okay, that's Paul Wallace talks about that. That's in Africa. Women have gotten abducted off the beach. They were taken to they've gone for like years. They were taken to like an underwater civilization where they were meant to be like hybridized and like all kinds of weird stuff. Like that's one example. But
that could be the mind control that I'm talking about, though. I mean, it's possible.
If you want to think that, but you could think either way. You can't prove mind control, just like I can't prove aliens.
Well, but I do know that the military has the MK Ultra, though.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with aliens?
Well, it's all mind control. It's all changing the narrative.
If you want to think that way, I mean, you can think that way. It's it's the way you perceive things. It's your perception. How do you want to perceive something? If I want to perceive something one way, you want to perceive something another way. But both of us are going to say, "Where's the evidence?" And there is none because we're speculating.
Yeah, no, that's you're right. And I will never say that I'm right about something. I say my intuition tells me this, and you know, I'm not going to sit here and definitely say you're wrong. There's no way. That's not going to happen with me ever about anything like that. I'll tell you for a fact that shit disappeared in my house and reappeared 9 months later, and nobody can tell me otherwise. But other than that, I'm not telling anybody about theories. We're all theorizing here, aren't we? I mean, that's what we love about doing this. But we do want to get to the truth.
That's what I would like to do. You know, it'd be nice if we could find the truth. I mean, like you said, there's so much disinformation. So how do you know? You know, like it's so hard to know.
Yeah, Chad, what do you think about the AB or all the above?
I agree with Rob. What Rob said about it, I completely agree.
Sorry, that is the wrong answer. Try again, sir. No, I'm just kidding. What was that? What do you agree with? What parts? All of it, obviously, but you believe they are man-made ships. No,
it's like look.
Breakaway.
I just did a. I just put an interview. I took an excerpt of an interview with Dr. Stephen Greer, and he said that they are man-made. They're also alien craft, and there's probably hybrids where there's alien craft with actual human people in it as well. Both, like a joint venture.
I've seen some stuff on Stephen Greer that makes me question his narratives and his motives. He's been rich for a long freaking time. He's been with people for a long time. Again, I don't know him. I'm not going to slander him. I'm just, it's one of those connectional things that it's like, you know, Obama, it was a great president until you realize how far back he goes with, you know, all the Rockefeller crap and the Bush
he was
crap.
groomed.
So that's all I'll say about him as far as that.
Yeah. By the way,
I totally agree with you, Ken. Like it's so hard to know. Like it's like for example, it's like how do we know what researchers to follow and who not? It's so hard to know. Like right,
100%.
it's a mind fuck. And I don't mean to swear on your channel. It's a mind.
No, you're right. You're right. I just go back to the basics, and not only what resonates with me, but what do I think is the most logical? If this is a simulation, right, and they're trying to hide that we're supposed to be in a simulation, and I know it's a simulation. There's no fucking way it's not a simulation. When stuff starts changing in physical reality, and people don't understand that, you can't tell me it's not a simulation. So let's start there, and then go. What is the most logical explanation? Would it be logical that we can travel light years than with little aliens, or the electric plasma showing us that this reality is being altered? Is that the most likely to
But
me?
there's so many things we can't
is.
explain. There's like interdimensional stuff. We know there's multiple dimensions. We know there could be such things as portals, wormholes, stargates. You know what I mean? They say that's why. Did you ever hear the conspiracy theory that that's why they thought we went into Iraq? Because there was supposedly a stargate there. I don't know if I believe that, but
that's ancient Sumer is over there. So I mean,
yeah.
Whether they were retrieving artifacts or whether they were getting the Holy Grail, whether they were getting the Covenant, no matter whether they were battling Enki and Enlil, nobody really knows anything about that. But we do know that was the cradle of civilization. So I guess we can start there, where the conspiracies go. And I want to say one thing before I let Chad have the rest of this, and we get off this channel. I guess for those of you who think that, well, they're not people watching this channel probably, but the definition of a conspiracy theorist started with JFK. And if any of you think that magic bullet can do what it did and kill that many people with one bullet, you're a fucking crazy man. So if we're a conspiracy theorist because we believe that JFK was shot by multiple bullets, then I guess I'm just a conspiracy theorist.
No, you're exactly right. That's the one that nobody has the answer to, right? I mean, like
science doesn't matter. Science doesn't matter when that happens. There's no such thing as science there. The government just throws it in a book.
Yep.
I think that was the CIA, though, right? That was definitely the CIA.
It was all of them, brother. I mean, there's no way everybody wasn't involved in that. And since then, the payoffs have probably been, from 20%.
But you know what he did, and what he did that was amazing. He stopped us from having nuclear war. Otherwise, we were about to throw down with Russia. Supposedly, they had missiles in Cuba, and we could probably talk about this. And we're running out of time. I'm sorry. I just saw the message that we're running out of time. I'll shut up.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Chad's ready.
I scheduled a live stream, so we're we're only gonna have maybe 20 minutes. I have to be kind of done by 5:30, so we only have we do an hour here, but I only got 20 minutes for me. So
part one. Let's go.
Well, we could. Yeah, you see that link I sent you over there? Just click that link, and I'll meet you over there.
What link?
Okay, I'll click it right now.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
In the private chat.
Guys, thanks for watching. Jump over to the private chat. Just kidding. Surrender, speak truth, and let go. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys.